Today we have a cosmic playwright from a galaxy far, far away. He wrote a play called Hello from the Children of Planet Earth. Give it up for Don Nguyen.
Greetings.
Woo! Hi, Don.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on. So you have a new play, Playwright's Realm, called Hello from the Children of Planet Earth. Tell us a little bit about that. What's it about? Tell the people.
So the play focuses on Betsy and Shoshana, who are trying to make a baby, and they, after numerous failed attempts, Betsy reaches out to her childhood friend, William, who is an aerospace engineer and works for NASA. So she asks him if he would be willing to be the sperm donor. And William is working on the Voyager space program, and this play is set in 2012 in August, where Voyager actually leaves the solar system and makes it into interstellar space, making it the farthest human-made object ever. And so William is closely monitoring that and waiting for that to happen. And so when Betsy and Shoshana come into his life and ask him to be the sperm donor, he kind of has to reevaluate his life basically and ask all sorts of questions about himself to see if he's ready or not to be a father, and also to figure out how involved he's willing to be in the process.
Yeah. How long have you been working on this play?
I think I started writing this play in like around, what year is it? Is it 2018?
It's 2018
Oh
now.
my God.
I know. We're running on Trump time now.
It's been a bit.
We are. I think I started in earnest around 2014 or 2015.
Oh, okay.
So a couple years after.
The Voyager?
Yeah, pardon me, a couple years after
exactly.
Voyager.
Yeah. But actually, like when I started the play, Voyager was not even in it at all. As I was writing the play, I knew that William worked for NASA, and I was like, well, what would he be doing there, you know? And I was trying to find like something that was really interesting and thematic, centered around childbirth. And when I found out about the Voyager program, and I don't know, like the image of Voyager leaving the protective bubble of the sun feels to me very much like childbirth.
Yeah.
And so I chose that subject. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's funny. I remember in 2001 Space Odyssey, the final scene is very much like like a new child is born going into, I don't know, that was just, I just thought of it. But.
And I sadly have not seen the entire film. I know. I feel terrible.
Same.
Yeah.
It's
Guilty.
It's a long film.
It's long, but it's so good.
It's gorgeous though.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous
I've gotten through like the first half of it on several
Same
different
here.
occasions,
Yeah.
and then fallen asleep.
Yes.
It's some long sequences.
Shout out to Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley.
Boy, Stanley Kubrick.
Deceased, blessed.
Yeah, rest in
Torn
peace,
out
Stanley
for
Kubrick.
you.
Yeah.
It's so neat though. You know, I have to say, I wasn't completely in on the premise of your play, but I love the idea of going outside of yourself and seeing, you know, your influence in the universe, but then having that brought back to your influence like in the now, and having to evaluate the importance of going between the other. Like, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. And a lot of people ask me also, like, you know, like, why did you choose two seemingly disparate themes, you know, like childbirth and surrogacy versus like space exploration? Like, those two don't seem to go together at all. Which, like, yes, initially it doesn't at all, but when you think about it more, I mean, the idea of bringing a child into the world or sending a space probe out of the world, they both advance humankind to a certain extent. Yeah. And so I think linking it that way helps with synthesizing the themes of the play.
So just going off of that, you are a huge space geek or nerd. I don't know what the correct terminology is.
Doesn't matter.
All right. Where did this come from?
Well, I think like most people, like, you know, we grew up with like Star Wars films and Star Trek, TV shows and stuff. I think my first foray into like science fiction and space was probably like Star Wars, you know, because I just thought, wow, it's so cool to see like spaceships fly so fast and like, laser blasts out in space and stuff. But it was actually when the space shuttle Columbia made its maiden voyage in space, and I remember we were watching it. I was 9 years old. We were watching it live TV, watching it land, and I thought it was kind of just incredible. Like here's this. I mean, we're used to like sending rockets out into space, and that's it. But to have like a reusable spacecraft, that to come back, to launch as a rocket, and then to come back as a glider, and be reused is amazing. And actually, when like the astronauts came out of the space shuttle, was the first time I realized how big the space shuttle actually was. I was like, holy crap, that's like a huge thing.
Huge.
Yeah. So I think that's actually what got me started into like the realistic space, like NASA and stuff like that. And I actually started a scrapbook of all these space shuttle clippings that appeared in my local newspaper.
Wow.
Up until the Challenger explosion.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, my heart. Yes.
So yeah, you're deep in it.
Apparently I was. Yeah. Like the most crafty thing I ever did as a kid.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wanted to talk about Star Wars versus Star Trek, but like you're stars. Like it's even more than that. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I think my love for all things space is definitely an evolution. Like, I think it started with Star Wars. As I got older, I think I got more into Star Trek because it's a bit it tackles more intelligent, cerebral, political subjects, and then as I started getting to more realistic space, because Star Trek is more ingrained in like realism, stuff like that. And started getting to NASA is when I started to really get into like astrophysics and the actual crazy stuff that happens in space. The idea that like sunlight takes 8 minutes to travel to Earth, and so we're literally like bathed in past. It's weird to think about it, and people talk about if you can look far enough into space, because we know that light is traveling at a certain rate, and takes like for a distant galaxy takes millions of light years to hit us, right? So, but if you were able to look far enough into space, you could see the birth of a galaxy. It's like crazy, mind-blowing stuff like that I really got into.
Wow.
And don't get me started on black holes. That's
all right. We will not go into black holes.
They terrify me, so I'm fine with it.
Don't Google what happens when you or how do you die in a black hole.
Don't Google it. Just don't. Don't go down that black hole. Don't.
But when I say don't Google it, you should Google it. It's crazy.
Okay.
I was reading in Scientific American how actually they found maybe edges of the universe, and there's a pretty good chance that we're in a jewel-like formation. It's a complicated word. It's the AMPLITUHEDRON, and I looked at it, and it was stunning. The idea of these very elegant angles and curves and parallels.
Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't read that.
But the idea of that we have, I don't know, for some reason that didn't make me feel. It made me feel better in that we weren't infinite, if that makes sense, and that there's things that we can touch and things we come back to. This is a complete segue that does not need to go in.
Wow, that was like really deep.
Cool. That was really deep.
Yeah, really deep.
I'm a librarian, so there's these things.
You should send me the article. I would love to read it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So going back, it's hard. It's hard to come back from that. I'm a big Stars geek too, so I love this.
Wait, so Star Trek or Star Wars for you guys?
Oh, I'm Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah, I've never actually like seen Star Trek too much.
Okay, haterade.
Are you Star Trek?
I have a sister who's significantly older than me. She's 11 years older, and so we didn't have much in common. When I was 6, she was 17, and one of the memories that I have of us actually really bonding were watching Star Trek together, because I didn't completely understand it, but I liked, costumes and, actors, and she had that, elevated. She became a chemical engineer. Shout out to my sister, chemical engineer and lawyer. But
wait, chemical engineer and lawyer?
Yeah, she's
overachiever.
What
a slacker.
Right?
I know, Jesus Christ.
I know.
What'd you think of The Last Jedi?
I'm running a YouTube show.
I have mixed feelings about The Last Jedi.
I didn't like it at all.
Really?
Yeah, not even a little bit.
I liked some of it, and I really wanted to love it.
Yeah, me too though. I wanted to love it.
Yeah.
And I caught so much flack on the internet for that. But I was like, dude, it's a bad movie.
Did you love it?
Yeah, look at Taylor in the back. Look, give me the wag of the finger. Get out of here.
That.
All right.
You know what I have to say, and this is not on you, but I have been reading a lot of people's perspectives on I don't like it, and some people are like, but I don't know why I don't like it. I don't like this storyline. I don't like this storyline. I don't like this storyline. And a lot of people have done discussions on it, and a lot of it can sometimes be drawn to, I guess I just didn't see this new rebel as a woman, and it's sometimes hard for me to relate to. And again, I'm not saying that that's you, but I am saying that is something that is mass across the country, where more people, especially young boys, are connecting more with the baddies, with Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren. See, I can't even. I hate him so much. I
don't like any of it.
He killed his dad. He killed Han Solo.
I don't think he...
Oh, spoiler. But more little boys and more young men are relating more to him than they are to Rey. And I was like, why? No. And then, so there's I think there's levels, and there's levels that make me like deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah. I like it for those reasons, but I hate it for like just narrative reasons.
Yeah, I think like from a writing standpoint, I felt like the movie didn't really push any of the actual characters from like Force Awakens. I didn't really feel like it furthered any of those characters as much as I wanted it to. So.
Yeah, and I felt like it took a lot of shortcuts.
Fair.
But,
yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go on.
It's okay. We could disagree.
But I have to say, I've only seen it once, and so I want to see it again because I usually my opinion.
Only once?
I know. It's been a busy couple months.
No, I'm saying like that's.
Last Jedi once is fine. Once is good.
Oh no, I mean like those Star Wars films, I have to see like at least 3 or 4 times.
All right.
Talking to an expert.
Okay.
You have to.
Okay.
You did run a NASA play, so there's.
That's true. That's true.
So you were born in Saigon, and then you immigrated to Lincoln, Nebraska. That's a 180.
It is, yes.
How was that? How has it like influenced your writing or your perspectives on things?
In '75, when Saigon fell during the Vietnam War, my father he's part of the South Vietnamese Navy, and he got us out basically, in the last few hours before the city fell. Got us on a boat, and we made it over to Guam. Stayed there for a few months. He was like a translator there, and then we went to Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. And a couple weeks later, we relocated to Nebraska. And so at that time, a lot of like churches all over the country were like sponsoring refugees. Mm-hmm. And so my dad was able to like just pick where he wanted to take the family, and he saw the middle of the United States. It's like, I want to go somewhere where it's not too cold and not too hot. And so he chose Nebraska, which in the summertime it's like super hot, and in the wintertime it's super cold. So,
that's amazing.
But anyway, so
I'm sorry, I have to go back. Out of all the places in the country he chose, he purposely chose Nebraska.
He purposely chose Nebraska. Wow. Yeah.
Bold.
Very bold. But I have to say, like, it made for a really interesting childhood for me. Moving to a place where I really was like, one of the 3 Asian kids in like my school. No one else looked like me, and so I had to learn very quickly how to like conform, and blend in. And as I got older and started getting to writing and stuff, I think because when you come from 2 different cultures, when you kind of have to straddle 2 different cultures, for me, it kind of made its way into my writing. And so if you look at like one of my plays, Sound, which is about deaf culture, that play kind of looks at how both deaf and hearing worlds live together, or how they can coexist. And also takes place in like 2 different time periods as well. Even this current play, Hello from the Children of Planet Earth, takes place on Earth and in space. So, so I think a lot of my plays follow that pattern of, finding showing 2 different worlds and trying to see how they connect.
That is so cool. That is so freaking cool. I mean, like, it's cool to see someone new come into town and then like the beginning, middle, and end of their journey. But it's so cool to see cultures collide. And something that I find about this, because in the past we've interviewed, Ngozi, we've interviewed Jocelyn. There have been these dynamic playwrights that are coming out with work that's wonderful, because it's 2 things coming together. And even if it's not a culture that it is so universal. It's so important to watch it, because it's something that, I hate to be cliche, but being American is something that like everybody can relate to. It's being the new kid. It's being different. It's trying to find something new. It's something that I know New Yorkers can relate to. So that is so cool. I'm trying to hold it in, but I'm not good.
See? Only on Regarding. You can find it only on Regarding.
Exclusive.
Okay, so you're also one of the co-founders of Mission to Ditmars, a Queens-based playwriting group, which I'm also part of. Mission to Ditmars, Queens was good. So
here's their information.
Yeah, right.
On the bottom.
Right. So speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, so me, Carrie Bentley Quinn, and Laura Pastronk, we were both involved in another theater group that met up in Manhattan. This was years ago. And, on the train ride home one night, we all noticed we were on the same train going into Queens, in Astoria. I'm like, hey, I didn't know you lived here. Yeah, I totally do. And so we were like, God, we really wish like we had a theater writers group or something that met in Queens. Yeah. And so I think like a couple of years go by, and I emailed Carrie and Laura, and I'm like, let's try to do this. Let's figure out what we want to do and just do it. Because I think Queens, just like Brooklyn and any other borough, like there's a vibrant theater community here, lots of theater artists. The difference, I think, is that where Brooklyn is vibrant, but also it's, I think, more vocal in terms of like what they have to offer and stuff like that. Yeah. I feel like sometimes Queens, we're kind of like the sleepy, borough, and we need more organizations or people to say, hey, there's theater happening here as well. And so we wanted to create an organization that championed theater artists who are based in Queens. And so we did that. We, through our first mixer at Alewife in Long Island City, and a bunch of people came, and we were really thrilled about that. And we had these questionnaires like, what do you want or what do you need? And the majority of answers were, we want a writers group or playwrights group. Gotcha. And luckily, I'm a playwright, Carrie's a playwright, Laura was a director, and then we brought on Meredith Packer as well, and she's a director, and we were like, hey, we can do this. We know how to run a writers group. And so that's what we did. We started the Propulsion Lab, which you were a part of, which you were thrilled by as well. So.
Yeah, great. I mean, Queen stand up, get the money. You know how it is.
Yeah. we've been going for like 5 years, I think now.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Queens, the most diverse city in the world, in the entire world. Yep. That is true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
shout
facts.
Out to Queens.
Shout out to Queens.
What's up, Queens?
It's the only borough I've ever lived in when I moved here too.
See? See?
I'll probably die here.
From your experience, now that you have established yourself more as a writer and even as a founder of this organization, if you could give advice to people up and coming in the game, new theater makers, what is a piece of advice you would give to young theater makers?
A piece of advice? I have so much advice to give.
Go. Let it go.
We'll have an extended interview, so just have a good time.
Do you mean like theater makers who have moved here to New York, or just anyone?
I think on a general sense, but
like
if you
those
feel
going to school for it right now, or those like just out of school.
Right.
Yeah, I would say this. When I studied theater, I kind of made a commitment to myself that I wouldn't just be like an actor or a director. I wanted to actually learn every aspect of it, because I think that's really important as you get more into like the professional industry. You kind of have to know how you have to have this common vocabulary amongst different disciplines of theater, and you might also find that you love one more than the other. You might find that you start off as an actor, and then you're like, oh wait, my passion is in playwriting. And if you hadn't taken that playwriting class, or tried to write your own 10-minute play, you would never know. So because you're young, you have the time right now to take advantage of just experimenting and figuring out what it is that you love. And when you find out what you love, then you can really pursue that passion. And also, I would also say find your tribe. There's going to be people that specifically gravitate towards you, and you gravitate towards them, and you'll want to create work for each other. And no one else in the world will matter. When you find that tribe that you love, you just do it for them, and they'll do it for you, and then the rest is gravy.
Recommendation.
Recommendation. Oh man, this is like the hardest question.
Recommendation.
Recommendation for people. Give it to the center camera right there.
So I've been a bad theater person. I haven't seen a lot of theater
lately.
It
doesn't have to be theater.
Yeah,
it could be
anything. So if you're a TV watcher, I highly recommend watching Black Lightning.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, it's great. It's a superhero show. It's
the one on network TV, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know.
Shout out to my friend Kelly Goff, who writes for it.
Shout out to you.
it's funny, it's entertaining, but it's also about the African American experience in this day and age, it's weird. It's like subversively political. It's great. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, really, all right. So go check out Black Lightning on. Do you know what channel?
I don't know.
All right.
Well, it's okay. Here's the information.
Yeah,
CW,
check out Black Lightning.
Yeah, maybe CW. So.
Sure. Well, it's right here. Yeah. All right. Well. That's it.
So much.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
this is great, guys. Yeah, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm gone.
I
know.
I'm lost.
Cheers to myself.
Throw it out, toss it back.